I'm with Lord Redding, the head of diplomatic relations for Christians United for Israel, and we're here at Athlete Camp, very close to Haifa. And we're talking about the immigrants that were trying to get into Israel, Eretz Israel, before 1948. Now, there's been a special meeting today. Why are you here?
I'm here because, first of all, I haven't been to Athlete before, and I want to see what the British did in terms of abrogating on the mandate and also on the San Remo Treaty, and I want to see for my own with my own eyes actually what happened here, which we done.
And how pleased are you that the event has been taking place today?
Right. Well, I think it's really important for us to understand the actual facts behind the stories, and it seems to me that the British did treat the Jewish immigrants in a pretty disgraceful fashion.
Is it important to remember how the British treated the prisoners here?
Yeah, it is. It is important. I mean, the fact is that the initial Balfour Declaration and the San Remo Treaty quite clearly said there was to be no quota imposed upon Jewish immigrants. And yet they imposed them. And not only did they impose them, but they treated them almost like criminals. And these are people, some of them were Holocaust survivors who came here, and it must have been unbelievably unnerving, and with their expectations very high, those expectations must have been seriously dashed.
Now we're here actually at the Athlete Camp where a lot of the detainees came. In some ways it looks a little bit like a concentration camp. How did you feel going around?
Yes, I would definitely not say concentration camp. I would say quite clearly it's a detention camp. We were definitely detaining people here in very, very harsh circumstances. I mean, no heating, no very, very harsh circumstances. Yeah, so I think they treated them pretty badly.
Would you like to see a response from the British government in what happened?
Yeah, I think that the most appropriate time would be 2017, because there's 2 years to work on that. And what I'd like to see is I would like to see some representatives of the British government actually repent. Because after all, it's not all bad news, the history of Britain. Here, it delivered the British mandate, but it then abrogated on it. It abrogated on the San Remo Treaty. So what I would like to do is to have somebody who come clean, from the government, admit that they've done wrong, right? And let's have a better, because it's like an elephant in the room, this. With relations between England and Israel, with this always being there, and it's got to be dealt with, in my opinion. And I think the British government have got to admit it instead of covering up.
And do you think that the church acknowledging wrongdoing is an important act in building bridges between the Jewish community?
Definitely, yeah. The church definitely needs to get its act together, really, on this. And I was very heartened to hear what the Archbishop of Canterbury said earlier this morning. And we need more of this, really, of leadership in the church. There's too much replacement theology in the church. That needs to be exposed, in my opinion, yeah.
Now, you had the chance and opportunity to lay a wreath this morning in Haifa, at the Haifa port. How was that for you, just to be able to lay that wreath?
Yeah, it was a privilege to be able to do that. And it was a very solemn, somber moment, really, when one realized that 3,000 Jews had perished at the hands of the British in the sea outside Haifa when they were being turned back. It was a very solemn, really rather sad moment. Yeah.
Now, you were part of Christians United for Israel. What is that organization?
Right. Well, in the US, it was started in 2006, and now we have 2 million members. Now, these are 2 million members who are quite active, not only active in supporting Kufi, but active in lobbying in Capitol Hill. And that's pretty remarkable in 9 years to get from 0 to 2 million members. And yet it is hopefully we're going to grow, not probably at that rate in the UK, but we're looking forward to expanding a ministry in the UK and Europe.
Are you able to lobby within the UK and the British government at Westminster?
Not really, because I lost my seat. Tony Blair kicked me out in '99, and basically there are only a relatively few inherited peers left. But I still know a number, and one can still do a bit behind the scenes, if you'll follow me. Yeah.
Is there good support for Israel within the British government?
No, it's pretty Laodicean, really. Yeah, and people don't. At the moment, there's a big rise in anti-Semitism, and there are very few politicians that I've come across who are prepared to stand alongside Israel. We at CUFI stand alongside Israel, and I think it's very, very important that we do so. Yeah, I'd like to see more politicians doing that.
Yeah. What do you think is the root of anti-Semitism? From the British Mandate period, there's a lot of anti-Semitism there. What do you think is the main root?
Well, fun enough, I think it's probably spiritual more than anything else. There's an anti-Semitic spiritual root, and it's festered over a long period of time. I think I'm right in saying that. Well, it started with the High Church, with Christ killers, and the interesting thing is that if you look at Lloyd George, nearly all his cabinet were Low Church, yeah, and they were the ones who befriended Israel. Foreign Secretary Balfour Declaration. It is interesting how the High Church tends to be anti-Israel, and the Low Church seems to be pro-Israel. If you look at the States, for example, a lot of the Low Church in their Bible Belt support Israel. Yeah.
And what's your prayer finally for the British government in their relationship with Israel?
Well, I think they've got to come clean. They've got to repent of what they've done. I'd like to see, some figure in the British government, whoever it is, because we don't know. Today is the day. Yeah. But whoever represents the British government from the Foreign Office should not just apologise, but in my actually say repent of what they've done. Yeah.
Okay, Lord Reading, thank you very much.
Thank you.